What are TCP and UDP, and how do they differ? Both TCP and UDP are transport layer protocols. They define how data moves from one device's application process to another's, using port numbers to tag and identify which application the data belongs to. But they follow completely different strategies to do it. One reliable, that's TCP, used for things like loading web pages, sending emails, or transferring files, where even a single byte can't go wrong. Another unreliable but faster, that's UDP, used for real-time activities like video calls and online gaming, where low latency matters more than perfection. So how does TCP, or Transmission Control Protocol, make sure that every single byte of data doesn't go wrong? It all comes down to 6 key features: connection-oriented communication, byte stream, ordered delivery, reliable transmission, congestion control, and flow control. Let's start with the first one, connection-oriented. For example, when you visit the X-VPN official website, your device wants to send a request like, "Hey, I'd like to load the homepage of xvpn.io." But before that message can be sent out, your phone and the XVPN server have to perform the three-way handshake. Think of SYN as, "Faye, can we talk?" and ACK as, "Yep, got it." It goes like this. "Hey, can I talk to you?" "Sure." "Can I talk to you too?" "Sure." Only after this little handshake ceremony, the TCP connection is officially established, and your request to load the XVPN homepage can finally be sent. And when the communication is done, it closes it carefully, like saying goodbye politely before hanging up, a process called four-way termination. It goes like, "Over, bye, got it. Over to, bye, got it." That's how TCP ensures reliability from start to finish. The second and third key features of TCP are byte stream and ordered delivery. That means no matter how big the data from the application is, TCP just sees it as one continuous stream of bytes, and it gives every single byte a sequence number. The sender sends them in order, and the receiver gets them in order. The starting sequence numbers are exchanged during the three-way handshake we talked about earlier. Also, the SYN message itself consumes one sequence number, while a pure ACK doesn't. That's why, when the actual data transmission begins, the first byte starts with 1001. Now, you might be wondering, does TCP really send data one byte at a time? Of course not. That would be painfully slow. In TCP transmission, each data packet, technically called a TCP segment, can carry up to around 1,460 bytes. The sender can send multiple segments at once, within a certain range of bytes called the sliding window or send window. But the real internet is unpredictable. If multiple packets are sent at once, some might arrive out of order, get lost, or even corrupted. So what happens then? That brings us to TCP's fourth feature, reliable transmission. This mainly comes from the acknowledgement mechanism and retransmission mechanism. For example, imagine the device first sends data with sequence numbers 1001 to 6000. It must wait for the receiver to reply with ACK equals 6001, meaning I've received everything up to 6000. Only then can the server continue sending the next part of the data. Now, if the segment 2001 to 3000 gets lost or corrupted along the way, even if the later ones, 3001 to 4000, 4001 to 5000, and 5001 to 6000, arrive early at the receiver, it will keep replying with ACK equals 2001. Those early segments won't be delivered to the application just yet. They'll wait in the receiver's buffer until the missing piece shows up. Back at the sender's side, when it receives multiple duplicate ACKs, or notices that the ACK number hasn't moved for a while, it suspects that the segment 2001 to 3000 might have been lost or damaged, and then retransmits that missing data. Once the receiver finally gets it, the ACK number moves forward to 6001. The sender can then continue sending the next range of data in the send window. That's TCP's acknowledgement and retransmission mechanism. But wait, there's more. You might wonder, so how big is the send window? Well, it's not fixed. It grows or shrinks dynamically based on the receiver's available buffer space and the current network condition. This leads us to TCP's fifth and sixth features: flow control and congestion control. First, flow control. The receiver has a buffer that temporarily stores data, both the parts that haven't been processed by the application yet, and any out-of-order segments that arrived early. Obviously, that buffer isn't unlimited, so flow control makes sure the sender doesn't overflow it. The receiver tells the sender how much free buffer space it has left by including this value in each ACK. This leftover space is called the receive window. Therefore, the send window must always be no larger than the receive window. Now, let's move on to congestion control. Just like highways, if too many packets arrive at once, congestion happens. That can lead to packets being delayed, lost, or corrupted. The sender observes how ACK numbers progress to estimate the current network condition and calculates how much data the network can safely handle at that moment. This value is known as the congestion window. To avoid overloading the network, the send window must also be no larger than the congestion window. In short, the send window is always limited by both the receive window and the congestion window, taking the smaller of the two. That's how flow control and congestion control work together in TCP. All these 6 features work together to make sure every byte of data arrives completely and in order. But they also come with 2 trade-offs: high overhead and high latency. High overhead means TCP uses a lot of extra resources to guarantee reliable transmission. And because of all the handshakes, waiting for acknowledgements, and retransmissions, TCP is often slower and higher in latency compared to UDP. Speaking of UDP, or User Datagram Protocol, it's like a blank sheet of paper. It doesn't have any of those 6 features we just talked about in TCP. No connection setup before sending data, not a continuous byte stream, no guarantee of order, no retransmission when packets are lost or damaged, no flow control, and no congestion control. But it's faster, lightweight, and has much lower latency. So that's TCP versus UDP. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like and follow for more. Next time, we're diving deeper into UDP. See you then.